Good morning, everyone. Hope you are well. I thought I would get market commentary out today because it's been a little while since we've done the last one, and we will go through the indices in a second. We'll also have a look at the major currency pairs because there has been a little bit of movement. We've seen all-time highs on gold, so we'll review all of those in a second. But just to let you know, those of you that are on any of our free memberships, our last Kickstart, our last 28-day Kickstart program is happening in September, but the discount early bird registration ends tomorrow. So those of you that are on any of our free memberships, if you want to get on the last 28-day kickstart for 2020, so it's happening in September, but that will be the last one until 2021. It feels weird saying that in what is July, but it will be the last event for 2020, and the discount runs out tomorrow. Yes, you can book on after close of play tomorrow, but you will miss out on the 25% discount. So make sure you head to the link that you can see below if you want to get registered for that. And we only have, I think, 3 places left, 3 discounted places left. So you need to get on and do that before it shuts down and the discount shuts down tomorrow. Okay, good. So let's go and have a little look at what has been going on. So we'll start with the Dow and the S&P. I think that's a good place to start. So we'll have a look stateside and see what's been going on. So I'm going to go up to the weekly chart and just have a little look at the weekly chart, because we obviously had the dip with COVID, which I've gone through before, came down, had a little retest of the 2018 lows, went a bit lower. It doesn't look much now, but that was a fairly big move below, but had a close inside. And as you can see, we've recovered about 90%, 85, 90% of the move. So at the moment, price has been stalling. You can see the last 3 weeks, fairly indecisive in terms of which way it wants to go. Not a huge amount of momentum over the last few weeks, and you can see that there. So we were moving up. We had a little bit of a pullback here. So some of our guys took a long trade just here. So they took a long trade just here and got out at the prior highs. Some are holding to see if price will go higher and give a retest. But yeah, they had a nice trade up to those highs, and some of them are still holding in there as well. So the S&P not had a retest of its all-time highs, but has recovered most of the losses. And as you can see, if I just go over to the Dow, you can see not quite as much. Similar pattern, come up, made that move, getting closer, and again had the pullback here, but hasn't retested its prior highs. So it might be that if the Dow does push up and give these a retest, what that will do is push the S&P up to its all-time highs. So to bear that in mind. Now, as you know, the Nasdaq completely outstripped the 2 major indices, the S&P and the Dow. You can see we had a retest of the prior highs. We've gone higher. Some of our guys had a trade here and then had a trade here. So with the trend traders in our trading room have had some really nice moves on these, because they're trading a with the trend move, but either before price reaches a previous resistance on the S&P and the Dow, and some of them had that on the Nasdaq as well. And then because the Nasdaq has gone higher, given us a new high, pull back. Some of them that were more cautious wouldn't have traded this because the pullback is into the resistance, but then this high here has given them the trade set up there. So at the moment, what you can see on the Nasdaq, and this is key to see here, is that this high, we've got to pull back here. This high has not actually been beaten. So we're down here. Now, this is important. I need to slightly readjust what is on here because we were using this in the trading room. So the way we use trendline, this is slightly invalid for us, because that low that I've joined up, yes, it's a higher low and it's turned, but it hasn't actually created a higher high. So the trend line at the moment should actually be there. That was just because I was showing guys in the room. So that is the current trend line. So as far as we're concerned, the Nasdaq has broken the trend line. It's at a daily close below the 21. It's gone back. Often you see this. You'll see price break a trend line and then go back for a retest, and you can see it's been consolidatory for the last couple of days just in there. So with the Nasdaq, for me, if we take those lows out that created the close below the 21, so if we take those lows out, I'd be looking at a retest of the 50, and that'd be the first daily 50 hit since way back here. So again, watching this very carefully. If we get a new low, then we could have a short opportunity on the Nasdaq and that might translate over to the S&P and the Dow as well. So that's the US indices. DAX, very similar. You can see it's almost like you're looking at the same chart or a combination of the S&P and the Dow. Same idea, trade set up here, move up, price took the high out, and as you can see though, it's just had a little bit of move down, and today so far pushing down. I know the day trading room guys had a great setup this morning. They've been using a trailing stop mechanism. I think they had a 15-to-1 trade. They'd had a run of losers prior to that, and you can probably see there was a bit of indecision on the DAX for the last few days. So I think they'd had 6 losing trades, and this is the power of being able to trade through losers. 6 losing trades, but then they've come in with a 15-to-1 using their trailing stop management system that they use in there. So they've had a 15-to-1 winner. So they've not only taken back all the losses for the last 6 trades, but given themselves a 9 ratio head. So that, for some of them at 1% risk, is a 9% return. And that's the thing with day trading, you can have those fluctuations. So far you can see there, the DAX so far today moving down. But again, same idea here, would be looking for a retest of the 21. The trend line on the DAX, again similar. I'll pop that in. You've got the lows here, and then you've got this, say that low there. So it's sort of been crisscrossing the trend line there, and then that low did eventually create that new high there. Some might argue and say that they would want a best fit in that scenario and would go in, say there. But I'm not so keen on that, because that high, that higher high in that small pocket, is not higher than that high. So for me now, I would, if price rebounds from here and wants to go further up, if it takes this high out, and this is how I work the trend line, it takes this high out there, so it comes up from here, takes this high out, I'd readjust the trend line to that point. But if it doesn't and keeps going down, then I'm watching this 50 here. All right, so DAX looking similar to the S&P and the Dow. Had a little bit more downward movement, down about was down 2.6% today, whereas the S&P futures is only down 1. Nikkei, similar thing here, this sideways move that we've seen since June. And if we go and have a look at the Ftse, similar idea. Hasn't made the same level of recovery as the other indices, but it's doing a similar pattern in that it's very sideways here. Okay, let's have a little look at gold, because obviously we've had the big move up. We got the all-time highs. I'll pop the monthly chart on so you can see that. So gold's had a test. Now at the moment, obviously the monthly candle has got a few days to run. So I will be watching to see if we get a positive close above those highs. I didn't quite get 2,000 on this. I think the spot price giving me 1981. So that's the new all-time high. So obviously what we've got a weekly close and a monthly close coming up. So this is going to be interesting. So going to be watching that weekly candle to see if that gives us a close above, and then the monthly candle showing a similar thing as well. So that's a big watch. There's still a potential reversal opportunity here for some of our traders, depending on what the price action is, because you are at the all-time highs, the market is extended, and we were discussing this in the room, as I do think potentially gold's got potentially further to go, but that doesn't mean I won't consider a reversal trade if it sets up. Certainly if you compare it to silver, I'm going to have a little look at silver here. Weekly candle on silver, much more volatile. You can see a real big potential. And again, the week's not over yet. It's only Thursday, but potentially, if that continues down, a big pin bar reversal just there on silver. So got a positive close above the 2016 highs. And I'll just do the same. Go and have a little look at the monthly chart. You can see weekly close above this level, not a monthly yet, but it has retraced quite a bit. But silver, plenty of potential. Forget the price. If you look obviously in relation to silver's all-time high, silver hasn't tracked the main indices, hasn't tracked gold in the same way as it did back here. If you go back and study the chart, back here, silver was tracking closer to gold. So if you look at gold, gold's been pushing up, retesting its previous highs. Silver hasn't done the same thing. But the correlation there could be that the main indices haven't sold off as much. The main indices have recovered. If we have a sell-off in the main indices and people start pushing their money into silver, or gold demand goes up and then there's a supply issue, you might See silver's price push up, and there's plenty of room back up to silver's prior high. So silver way off its prior highs in comparison to gold. So not tracking in quite the same way as gold and silver did back in 2010, 2011. Okay, so just something we were talking about in the room, we noticed this. So that's the indices. Oil, have a quick look at oil. It's just taking a minute to come up. Here we go, here's oil. Don't worry about all those little adjustments there. It's just the software adjusting some of the data because we're looking at a futures chart. So you can see oil, if I go to the weekly chart just here, you'll see again oil very, very consolidatory, very similar. Hasn't had much going on now for the best part of 6 weeks. You can see this on the daily. It's just drifting, so it's recovered quite a bit. We've got this gap here that you can see back when there was the issue with the Saudis and Russia. Prices pushed down. We've recovered nowhere near as much as the indices, but again, very quiet here, oil, a little bit down so far today. So not doing a great deal at this point. If we go and have a little look at euro, because I want to look at euro because euro's had this breakout, and this was another one of our with the trend traders from the room. These guys were had a nice setup here, again high, plenty of room between here and the next previous high and this high. Run that trade. Some of the guys ran it up to this resistance. I don't think anyone has held it past that level because this was a logical exit point. There might have been a few that ran it past that. Next area you can see we've got a small area of resistance here on euro, and if I just go up to the weekly chart, you'll see the higher time frame. You can see it comes in even further. We just got a test of the longer term trend line in here. So just coming up for a longer term test of that. We've seen price consolidate a little bit over the last couple of days. You can see that there. But euro still looking strong. Certainly for me, if price was to break through, go higher, possible retest, then I could easily see euro getting 1.2. The next clear area of resistance is up at about 125, up around this level here. You'll see it. So if we were to get above this level, pull back and go again 1.2, and then possibly even higher. So with potentially more dollar weakness on the horizon, then euro could have the potential there, but it depends what happens with the euro as well, because remember the majority of major currencies are printing money at the moment. So again, we'll have to see. So yeah, potential reversal opportunity here, but for me it would be on a half stake. So again, price hasn't done what I need it to do at that level, but I'll be keeping a close eye on that. And if we go and look at, we'll start with pound US dollar. So let's just go and have a look at the pound against the US dollar. Same idea. We've just broken out of this sideways move, but it's not as extensive as euro US dollar. You can see interim support and resistance. These aren't strong levels, but you've just got highs of the year. They were almost hit here. So it's a bit of a zone, and you can tell by the tone of my voice, it's not really a level that I'm that enthusiastic about, but there are those prior highs just there. You've got the 219 highs just in here, but yeah, not as clear. I'll go up to the weekly chart. You can see not as clear here on pound against the US dollar, but there is a bit of a resistance zone up there that you might see a reaction to. US dollar yen has had a nice little breakout and has got not close to the COVID lows, but a previous set of lows that you can see here. All right, so it had a little bit of a breakout. You'll see it more clearly on the daily. So it's had a little bit of a breakout here and has just slowed down as it gets closer to those lows. But obviously you've got the break there from the COVID price action. So other than that, I'll just have a quick look at US dollar Swiss franc because we got a retest here, and I'll go up to the weekly. We actually had a trade here that was a loser. So we had a reversal trade. Some of our breakout traders had a nice trade down from here. So you had a lovely breakout pattern here where prices come in, retested that level, and then come down again with a lower high. And then you've also got that on the 4-hour chart. So a really nice setup where then you got another consolidation on a lower time frame. And some of the guys had a really nice trade into there. But yeah, we've had a retest here. Price has actually gone lower. So if I just go up to the weekly chart here, you can see we had a retest of the 2018 lows that were tested around that time with COVID. It's one of the markets that had a really clear test. We actually had a lovely long trade here that we took right back up into this choppy zone. Came back down. Obviously not as much time between these hits, but still a logical reason to get in, and that trade lost. But again, if we look at a longer term time frame, then next set of lows, that was the big drop that we had back in 2015 when there was the unpegging against the euro. So there is a low just here. It's not strong level, but we'll see. Looking more like on the monthly, it might wanna have further downside from there. And then lastly, let's go and have a look at US dollar, Canadian dollar. So you can see here with COVID, that got close to a retest, just missed it. But we look at the weekly, very consolidatory here. The mid area, you've got the choppy zone here. It's just hovering around that. And if you look at the daily chart there, again, fairly sideways, so not too much there. So yeah, it's been good. We've had some good with the trend setups, some pullbacks and breakouts, reversals. I think we've had less success over the last couple of weeks, but that's trading. That's how it works. You've got to go with the ebbs and flows. So remember, our 28-day program where you learn the things that I've been talking about, the process that we follow, the strategies we use, the analysis that we take, the risk management that we put in place. Those last couple of discounted spaces are available. So hope that was useful, guys. I will be back in touch with you again next week with a further update. And have a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you soon.